Okay, so now that all of my current favorite TV shows have hit their season finale, I'm going to give you my reflection on them. I was waiting until it all concluded so I can do them all in one video. I'll start with Nashville, because it just had not just its season finale, its series finale. It's been canceled by ABC. There's word that they may look for another network, but probably time to cancel it anyway. It's been a successful show. I think the Maddie emancipation line went too far, although I'm surprised that it ended positively with her back together with the family. The title of the final episode made me question. It was titled, "Maybe Someday You'll Appreciate Me," or something like that. I really expected it to end on a bittersweet note, but it didn't. Although, perhaps bittersweet, did Juliet die in the plane crash? If it's the last episode ever, we can assume, and maybe that has to do with the title. I don't know. Gunnar and Scarlett back together, that was totally predictable. I'm glad Layla kind of ended on a positive note. No longer with Avery, but a career taking off. And of course, the Will Lexington gay story. You know, in the show they always talked about how they don't think country is ready for a gay star. I think in real life it is. Even though no big star has come out gay, I mean, there's been Shelley Wright and Ty Herndon, who came out once they were has-beens, although I don't mean that in a bad way. It's a shame they're has-beens, because I'm fans of both of them. But it's been, what, a year since the Supreme Court made its ruling on same-sex marriage, and a growing majority of Americans concur with it, even amongst conservatives. And the Nashville community is relatively conservative, so I think there's that growing tolerance. Definitely is. I mean, Carrie Underwood has supported same-sex marriage and all that. So that's Nashville. Great show. If it's over, it ended, I think, fairly good. And if it comes back, and we'll see. Okay, Vikings. That was sort of a season finale. It's a mid-season finale. They're going to pick it up later in the year. It was practically a season finale. So, in essence, we're having a fifth season, not a second half of the fourth season. But that's whatever you want to call it. So Ragnar gives people an opportunity to kill him. I have my predictions as to where this is going based on reading the sagas. I'm not going to say, because that would be kind of a spoilers, but we'll see where that goes whenever it does resume. Overall, still holding its own without Ethelstan. We'll see where it goes, but, you know, I think this should be it once the second half of the season is over. Okay. Madam Secretary. You know, it's a shame President Dalton isn't our real-life president. And that McCord isn't our real-life Secretary of State. That would just be... It wouldn't be politics as usual if we could get... too bad they're not... As I said, too bad they're not our real President and Secretary of State. But he's asking her to be Vice President. And the season concludes with no definitive answer. Now, maybe in the next season she'll be continuing to work as Secretary of State while campaigning, while on the campaign trail. If she actually becomes Vice President, they'll have to change the name of the show. Or cancel it, I don't know. We'll see. Then, Supergirl. I apologize for my camera slipping. I just got a new iPhone 6S, which is a lot thinner. It's not holding up very good. But overall, it's much better than my last one. But anyway, to go on. There's been there's criticisms of Supergirl being cheesy, but it all works out. Melissa Benoist really makes it work. And as I've said before, my favorite Superman is the black and white. You know, the simple, he comes from Krypton, doesn't know his origins, works fine. But when you bring in Supergirl, you need to get more creative, and they're doing just well with that. So, we'll see in the next season how they go about rescuing their father, and who was in that pod that crashed at the end of the season leaves us on a cliffhanger. And finally, Gotham. Also ending on a cliffhanger, but that's a Batman tradition, isn't it? So, they brought back Fish Mooney. I guess they're going to use her again in the next season. Okay, so they find the guy who kills the Wayne parents. He's now dead. They find the guy who hired him. He's now in custody, but, you know, obviously as we know, there's more to it behind even him. The secret council that's running Wayne Enterprises, and that's really the whole Gilligan's Island gag of the series. Like, you know they're not going to get off the island because the day they get off the island is the day the show ends. The day they find the guy or the people behind the Wayne murder, that's when the Gotham ends. So, you know, more mysteries to be solved. Of course, that deviates from the comic book where Joe Chill was the killer, and Bruce Wayne doesn't find out until he's Batman grown up. Same with, and of course in the Burton movies it was the Joker. But deviating is fine if it makes for a good story, and this one does. I wonder who's going to end up being the Joker. Anyway, Gordon's leaving town to look for Lee. Now, we know he's going to have to get back together with Barbara, for this simple reason. Even though this has nothing to do with the comic books or any other version, we know they're going to have a daughter named Barbara after the mother, and she will grow up to be Batgirl. In some versions, yeah, she is Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and in others she's his niece and adoptive daughter. But, you know, it can't be just a coincidence that he was dating someone named Barbara at the start of the show. That has to be the direction this is going in. So, that sums up my review of what I think are the best shows currently on TV. Let me know your thoughts.